Hello, hope everybody's doing okay. All right, we are here today to discuss, of course, chapter 8. All right, chapter 8 is very important. Is what global management. And so the learning outcomes are to discuss the impact of global businesses and the trade rules and agreements that govern it. All right, we're also going to explain why companies choose to standardize or adapt their business procedures. All right, and explain the different ways that companies can organize to do business globally, outline the steps for finding a favorable business climate. We're also going to discuss the importance of identifying and adapting to cultural differences and explain how to successfully prepare workers for international assignments. All right. And so, hey, you guys are doing a very good job, and I'm proud of you. You, you know, keep on going, keep on going. We only have maybe after chapter 8, and we have four more: 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4 more, and then you're gonna do your presentation, and then your final assignment. I mean, your final exam. Um, that's it. All right. So we all know what globalization is, right? Globalization describes the interconnectedness, all right, or interlinkage of the world's economies, the world's culture, world's population, all right? Look, listen. So you see, people in different parts of the world basically use the same devices that we use out here, right? They sort of, uh, everybody has an Apple phone. You go anywhere, everybody has what Samsung phone. Um, there are, you know, even with the shirts and the hat that we wear, people kind of dress almost the same. Everybody got to wear a shoe and tie, right? Everybody got to wear, a t-shirt. Everybody got to wear jeans, right? And so this thing is already there. This interconnectedness, all right. We depend on each other's what economies, all right. No economy is an island, okay. That's why we have goods coming in from so many places. In America, goods coming from where? From Mexico, Canada, China, and what southern American countries. All right. If you go to Walmart, you're gonna see it. Um, Foreign people can invest in American businesses. American company, American people, the population can also, the citizens can also invest in foreign um, businesses and stuff, right? This is how interconnected the world has become. And it's all thanks to what? Thanks to an advancement in technology. All right. So, in advancement in technology, now I can talk to you, um, on YouTube, right? And on Zoom, on so many, on TikTok. If you get on TikTok, you see what people are doing in anywhere in the world. We all watch some of these videos, funny videos. Some of them are even not too funny. You see wars, some war everywhere. What is going on in Ukraine now? There's war, and I hear Ukraine produces a whole lot of grains, right? And so because of that, because of the war that is going on, prices of certain food items have increased. All right, there is it's caused some inflation, which is being felt in so many countries. All right, so business is what is the buying and selling of goods and services, right? What is the purpose of a business? The purpose of a business is to provide what goods and services to the benefit of society, of members of society. All right. So that is the purpose of business. A lot of people think that is to maximize profit. No, that's not the purpose. That is the reward. That is what you get when you do business the right way. So global business is what buying and selling of goods and services um, by people and from people all over what the world, all over the globe. All right. Um, as I said, whatever you selling here, somebody can just log into your account, into or to your website, and then they see the item that they like, and then they said, "Oh, send it to me." So you ship it right through FedEx. FedEx goes everywhere. They are in what 200 countries and territories, right? There are 195 countries in the world, though. Don't forget that. But I'm saying that countries and territories. So that makes it about 200 and something. That's where FedEx goes to. So you can use what DHL. People are trading. They buying stuff on the internet, and so global business is rife. All right. Managers have to take note of it, because with more global business comes what more competition. And as a manager, of course, you have to know how to compete, right? You have to know how to strategize, because strategy is about what competing in the marketplace. So with all these goods coming in, all these um, you know buyers from all over the world, what is happening? There's rife competition, and so managers have to be able to understand global business and be able to um, develop their strategies to be able to what compete. All right. Now we have what we call multinational corporations. Now these are corporations that are located in two or more countries, located physically. All right. An example is Harley Davidson, the motorcycle company. It is all over it is in 21 countries. They have manufacturing plants in Brazil, Thailand, Australia. They have offices all over the the world in 21 um, countries. Of course, they are located where in Wisconsin, right? Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So that is what a multinational corporation. Exxon, BP, Texaco, all these corporations are multinational. Walmart is in other countries, right? So that makes them a multinational corporation. Okay. Um, so um, direct foreign investment, right, is a situation where you build a business in another country, right? Or you buy a business. So you are an American, um, and then you go open a business in somebody else's country, right? You are engaging in what? In direct foreign investment, right? Um, this is, beware of this. So you are buying, a physical business, right? You locating a business in another country. That is direct foreign investment. But then indirect foreign investment is when you just let's say buy stocks, right? Or you give money to um, a company that is located um, anywhere on the globe with the hope of getting good dividends from it. All right. So there is difference between the direct foreign investment and indirect foreign investment. So Ferraro, Ferraro is an Italian company. They have bought Nestle. Nestle is an American brand, of course. They bought it for what, 2.8 billion. All right. And so that means the Italians are what engaging in what a direct foreign investment here. All right. But if I buy shares in being here, when an American buys shares in another company that is located somewhere, let's say in the Chinese company, then you are engaging in what indirect foreign investment. All right, and so there are so many. So direct foreign investment in the United States, businesses in the United Kingdom, they love the United States. So most of them, I mean, that is the number one country that has direct foreign investment or foreign direct investment in the United States. It's up to a percentage of what 12.9%, more than any other country. That's followed by Canada, that also has a lot of investment here in the United States, and it has what 11.8%. Um, and then, of course, the Japanese with their cars, their Toyotas, their Infinities, their Honda, right? And then you have the Netherlands, and then Luxembourg, Germany, of course, with their so many cars, France, with their what you call it, designer wear and stuff, right? Of course, the Italians. And of course, Americans also engage in direct foreign investment. Starbucks is all over the globe. It's in China, it's in India, it's all over, it's in Europe. Coca-Cola, right? They are also everywhere. Pepsi Cola, they have locations, they have manufacturing plants. Um, you have Ford Motor Company that are located in Europe doing business there. So Americans like to invest or engage in direct foreign investment in mostly the Netherlands has about 14.8% of American direct foreign investment. Yep. Why is the Netherlands so popular with Americans? Because we're going to be talking about this further, but they have very skilled workers. All right, they are very skilled workers. These workers also speak at least three languages. Okay, it is also a very peaceful um, country. All right. Of course, the second one is the United Kingdom. So American businesses love United Kingdom, all right, and they love Luxembourg. Luxembourg is mainly, because of its tax haven status. And of course, the American businesses in France and Ireland. Yeah, Ireland has a lot of has a high purchasing power, which we're going to discuss. All right, so we trade, right? We engage in business. Why? To make us what better off, to make us better off, to improve our well-being, right? Um, but then we have what trade barriers. So how is that? Ain't that paradoxical? If you want to engage in trade, but at the same time you have trade barriers. Trade barriers are what restrictions that are put in place by a country, to regulate its imports, to regulate imports, um, right? So the United States has a trade barrier. There are two types of trade barriers. We have the tariffs and the non-tariffs. All right, but why is a trade barrier put in place if trade is so good? Because at the end of the day, buying and selling, right, of goods and services, why? Just because, okay, I don't have it, you have it, I want it, and so I buy it from you, right? And of course, I'm buying it to the benefit of me. If it's something illegal, of course, you cannot um, buy, right? Because the government have determined, or you know that it's not good for your health. And so nobody's engaging in trade of what of bad products that are that's gonna be or that are gonna be what detrimental to your health, that is gonna cause harm to you. Nobody does that. Nobody. And so everything that you're selling has to what has some um, benefits, right? Health benefits, safety benefits to improve our our well-being. So we engage in trade to be better off. But then there are trade barriers, as I said. And so why are there trade barriers? So trade barriers are put in place in in order to what? To protect local entrepreneurship or to protect local businesses, period. All right. And when there's rife competition, sometimes it stifles productivity. So let's say, a young entrepreneur wants to also create a business, but they cannot compete in terms of prizes, or in terms of, even efficiency with a bigger company, you who's sending all these goods to the United States, right? And you also want to set up that same business. What um, example can I give? Let's say a a watch business or something, right? You want to set it up here, but then there are so many watches coming in. You cannot even nobody's looking at you. Look, nobody wants to buy your watch. Why? Because they have better watches coming in from other countries. Um, but that is a bad thing, right? So because for an economy to grow, right, for a country to grow, there are two things. First of all, there has to be high level of what? Productivity. You have to produce. So you have to have technology to be able to produce goods and services. Um, that is why the United States is one of the best countries in the world because it produces what about 27 trillion of goods and services every year. All right. Yeah. So it's about goods and services, and producing goods and services is about it's about having efficient or technology, and also if you discover um, what natural resources, if you have natural resources. So since we don't have the same level of technology, we don't have the same natural resources. Some countries lack certain things, and so they engage in trade, of course, to make them better off. As I I said, and so trade barriers are also very important to protect the entrepreneurship, to protect local um, businesses. All right. Um, there are two types of trade barriers. We have the tariffs and we have the non-tariff. The tariffs are just taxes. So they place a tax on goods that are coming into the country, that are goods that are imported. All right. So so they place a tax for government to make money, and they also do that again to protect the local businesses. So the imported good, when they place a tax on it, right, it makes the prices of the item go higher, right? So if you buy, let's say, a beer that is produced made in Mexico, you realize that the price of that beer is higher than the American beer. So it is to deter people from consuming, or to support their local brands so that money can be kept here in the United States. Because if a local company produces goods and services, right, and they make profit, what do? They still spend it here. Unlike somebody who is engaging in imports, they are in Canada, they are selling their goods here. When they make profit, where they taking it to? They're taking it back to Canada. Where they take it back to Canada, then when they take their profit back to Canada, what are they doing? They are gonna, of course, invest there into develop their communities, have nice houses, have beautiful buildings, beautiful streets and stuff. Whilst you here don't really get a whole lot of um, social development. All right, because they're taking the profit away. Also, when you produce goods here, what you create jobs. You create, of course, you create jobs for people. You create high-paying jobs, right? Unlike just importing stuff and selling them to people, you're not able to create high-paying jobs, because if you go around to these manufacturing companies or jobs that are already here, you realize that they pay higher, right? Pay higher. But then when you are engaging in just retail of somebody else's product, the pay is not that high. All right, so we have what? Of course, tariff, and then we have non-tariffs. So tariffs are set at taxes, right? And non-tariffs could be anything to restrict, the number of goods coming in. So a non-tariff could be an embargo. Embargo is just they ban the goods coming in from that particular country, right? So we don't want to engage in business. Maybe that country is engaging in what, terrorism, or the goods coming in from those countries are not produced well, right? When people consume, they get sick or something, so they're like, nope, we are not going to do business with you. So that's an embargo. Embargo is an outright ban. All right. We also have quotas. A quota. So a quota is a limitation on the number or volume of goods that are coming into the country. So let's say we say, oh, we're gonna only import 1,000 steels, 1,000 pieces of steels, or 1,000 tons of steel a year, right? That is the limit. So they're placing a limit on the number of goods or the volume of goods that are coming in. China has a policy where they import only 34 movies a year from foreign countries. Why? Because they want to support their local movie industry, right? So they place what they also have a limit on video streaming websites, to which limits that to only 30%. And so they want to encourage their video streaming sites, right? And block most American video streaming sites, right? That is a quota. That is, installing quotas. So another non-tariff um, trade barrier is government import standards, which is established actually to protect the health and safety of people, right? So when the government realizes that, okay, there is a problem with your product, which is causing people to be sick, and stuff, they ban that particular product. All right, that's you know, uh, yep, they ban that particular product, um, or they ask you to do something about it. So there's what, government import standards. So, yep, based on what, to protect the health and safety of its citizens. Now, Europe banned American beef because they said that it is treated with hormones, growth hormones, right? And so they said that it's risky to to the health of Europeans, right? Americans responded by banning some products from Europe, up to what, 100%. They imposed um, 100% ban. 100% tariff on European products. The WTO, World Trade Organization, had to step in. They had to step in to stop this from escalating, and they said that there is no scientific evidence that these hormones are going to cause any health problems, and so they're telling the Europeans to stop it. But then later on, the United States and Europe came to an agreement. All right, came to an agreement that they're going to allow 17 slaughterhouses that they know that don't treat any the beef with any hormones, and so those are the only slaughterhouses that can actually export American beef to Europe, and so they allowed what up to about 70% export. Another non-trade barrier or non I mean non non-tariff is what is non-tariff barrier is subsidies. Subsidies is money given to local businesses. All right, it could be in a form of also tax deferment or low interest loans and stuff. So why do they do that? So countries do that to also protect their what you call it local business, or to make them more competitive. And so yeah, subsidies are used to enhance production by a certain country to be able for them to be able to compete. All right, so for them to be able to import or export more goods. All right, and that is not necessarily a good thing, but yes, but they engage in it. So Europe has what is Airbus. Airbus was subsidized by the European government so that it can be able to compete with Boeing. Um, all right, so we also have custom classification, all right, where they classify some goods as apparels, and they also classify some goods as festive articles. All right. So let's say you have a Santa Claus attire, right? The jacket, the boots, and the pants are classified apparels as apparels, and then the hat and the beard, they are classified festive articles. Festive articles are are not taxed. They're not supposed to get any. They're not supposed to impose any tariff on them. So there are so many classifications of these goods. So that is a way to what limit the or put a restriction on the amount of goods that are coming in and going out. All right. All right. So we have also trade agreements. All right. So why are there trade agreements after all these barriers? So we have trade agreements to be able to what um, enhance trade, because they know that trade is a good thing. All right. Trade is a good thing. At the same time, like I said, we also want to protect our local businesses. All right. So there is an organization called the World Trade Organization, with its main purpose of ensuring the free flow of trade between or among countries. All right, they provide a platform to negotiate any trade deals. They provide a platform to settle any trade disputes. They also give support to countries, technical support and stuff, to be able to design what trade agreements and stuff like that. So there are 164 members of the World Trade Organization. They are a very important body. Remember what I said about U.S. beef. So they got to step in to to negotiate a peaceful settlement for these two um, countries, so to speak. Europe is a continent. So for the continent of Europe and America to be able to um, settle their trade differences and for all of them to be able to benefit. All right. Apart from that, organization, which is a world organization, we also have regional trading zones or regional trading agreements. All right. In the United States region, which is North American region, there is the USMCA, which was set in place. It actually came to replace NAFTA. So the USMCA was put in place, I think, in June of 2020 by Donald Trump. His purpose is to what, to create higher paying jobs for American citizens. Okay, so and also for these, to improve economic relations with um, United States, of course, Mexico and Canada. They constitute the USMCA, and so with a USMCA, the agreement is that 75% of cars should be made in any of these three countries. And so when the car is made, is produced, manufactured in any of these countries, um, they don't, there's no tariffs on it. So you can freely import any car from Canada or from Mexico. Mexicans can freely import cars from United States and stuff, right? They also came together to, uh, you know, support um, trade in agriculture. So there is also about 90% of agricultural products are imported and exported amongst these countries, and there are no tariffs. There's also it also comprises of an agreement for what you call cybersecurity, cybersecurity protection, and also intellectual property protection is being increased from 50 to 70 years. All right. So many things um, which are good in this USMCA regional trade agreement. Okay, we also have in the European region, we have what the EU agreement, which what also was put in place mainly what to improve economic relations and also um, political and social and basically foreign relations. All right. So the Europe actually has what 44 countries, right? And it was 27 countries that constitute or that form the European Union. So with that, the European Union, which is EU, they have what a common currency, which is the euro. And so, you know, if you have the euro, you don't have to face exchange rate problems. If you're traveling from Germany to France to um, so many other European countries, you don't face problems with the exchange rate because there's one currency. There's also common citizenship, so you don't have to have a visa. You don't have to have a passport. All you can do is just grab your ID And you can drive through, Germany, Poland, um, Switzerland, not Australia, Switzerland, Sweden. You can just go on and on. Um, they also agree on the same or similar foreign policy and legal systems. All right, so there's actually a EU court, all right, which tries to oversee that everything is running smoothly among these countries. The UK is not part of the European Union. They were, but they withdrew from it um, in 2020. January 31st, 2020, they were citing what sovereignty issues because they want their sovereignty as a country. They don't want anything to do with. I mean, they want to take control of their own, immigration system. So yeah, so that is that, and of course, we also have other regional trading zones in Asia, which is called the ASEAN, the Asian zone, and then we have the African zone. Um, yeah, so we have the African regional zone, which is tripartite free trade agreement. There was also the West African regional zone, which is ECOWAS. And then, of course, we have the Asian, which comprises of the China, Hong Kong, Japan, Mexico, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Peru, Russia, all these people from all these countries from the Asian Association, the Association of Southeastern Asia Nations, which is the Asian, all right. And it's also the same thing. They want to enhance trade, all right. They want to facilitate trade between these countries, especially to lower tariffs or to eliminate tariffs altogether so their economies can have jobs, can have goods and services which are cheap, right? And stuff. All right. So we have what we call purchasing power, which everybody knows, right? Purchasing power is how much actually your money is worth or your income is worth. So if you have $50,000, what can you buy? So what are some of these determinants of this purchasing power? It's actually inflation, right? When there's high prices, then your $50,000 is nothing, right? So what causes all these high inflation? We can look at it from the cost push perspective, where products are scarce, all right, and then also when there is a whole lot of demand. But in our case, it's mostly because of lack of products. Okay, lack of products. So there are countries that have a strong purchasing power. United States. Why is that? Because they allow competition. There is competition. So when there is competition, businesses compete. What happens? You win because you get cheaper prices, right? Yep. So when there are a lot of local businesses, and there are also a lot of foreign businesses coming in or sending their products in, right? It makes things cheaper, and so you have a higher purchasing power. Finland, they have a high purchasing power. Sweden has a high purchasing power, but not Norway. All right. No, Norway does not have a high purchasing power. So why is that important? All right, it's important to you as the consumer, um, to know why these things are happening. Why you have money, but then you buying things and things are so expensive, and it's also very important to the businessman, though, to the businesswoman, to the manager. Know what the level of competition out there, right? Know the level of the competition, um, so that you know the choices that you make, um, and how to compete, you know, to make your business better. All right. All right. So let's go on. Now, when you decide to go abroad, right? When you decide to compete globally, what do you do? Are you gonna um, standardize your operation, your operations, or are you going to adapt to the culture there? Also, the ways they do business in their in a different country. All right. So if you want the same, um, if you want standardization of what rules, of policies, of practices, right? Um, you are going with what we call global consistency, right? Global consistency. But then, if you are adaptive, if you change based on what country you go to, based on their culture, you are using what local adaptation strategy. All right. Um, which one is it that is better? Um, which one is better? Well, a lot of people use, a lot of businesses use a hybrid version like McDonald's, right? They have certain things that are standardized and rules, but then they change their menu based on what country they are in. All right. In Indonesia, they like potato wedges, and so they don't. McDonald's don't serve regular, um, French fries. They actually sell potato wedges. All right. When you go to France, um, they sell bread with butter and jam in it. All right, in the morning. Okay, they don't sell biscuits. Um, and stuff. Cheese biscuit, and they don't have that. McDonald's also serve beer. They serve beer in Germany. They serve beer in France. So they adapt, right? They adapt locally. Um, but then, all right, yeah. But there's some other businesses also. Well, use what global consistency. But then more so, it depends on what kind of business you are in. If you're a manufacturer, if you're a car manufacturer, you have to be you have to use global consistency, right? Because a car is a car, basically, right? If you have a Mercedes Benz, this is a Mercedes Benz X5. It's the same everywhere, right? And so in that case, there is global consistency, but then um, when your business is more customer focused, let's say with restaurants, um, Starbucks. So Starbucks, they went to China, right? And this is what happened. They realized that they weren't making business. They were actually losing a whole lot of money yearly. So what was the problem? They went there with global consistency, and they were rejected because the Chinese, they don't like coffee like Americans do. They actually like tea, right? So Starbucks learned the high way, the hard way, and so they changed it. They started selling more tea. They also changed the design of their building to to fit Chinese designs, Chinese building designs. That says it all. And also one thing is, when you go to a Starbucks store, the barista, when you have to wait, the barista is gonna call your name, right? When your food is ready. In China, if you call somebody's name loudly, it's considered rude. It's considered rude. So they don't do that. You have to call people by, you have to give them a number. And so then when their food is ready, you just call that number out, like they do at the DMV. If you go to a very busy DMV, you got to take a number, and then you sit down and you call your number, number one, number two, number three, right? Come get your meal. So that is, in that is what happened to Starbucks. And so McDonald's, they do the hybrid version. The partly is global consistency, and part of it is what local adaptation, and so on and so. What are you? Well, which one are you going to use? Which model are you going to use in what country? All right, it is very important. Okay, like the advantages of what global consistency is that it reduces cost. Matter of fact, because you're using the same um, you know rules and regulations and all that, so you don't have to change anything, right? Reduces cost. It's cost effective. But then at the end of the day, what happens? The customers are not going to patronize, and so you're not going to make any profit, and so that defeats the whole purpose, right? With a local adaptation, right? It is kind of cost involving because you always have to change, things about your business and stuff. It's difficult, but then um, you are what producing for the customers of that country, and so um, they have to like it. Otherwise, what you're not in business. So, so think about it, and both of them are good. Either you choose global consistency, like I said, also depending on what kind of goods and services you are producing, right? If you're producing a car, you're producing a computer, cell phone, nah, you don't have, you can use the global consistency model. More so when you are in the hotel, well, even hotel, you have to build according to their style, the Chinese style, Canadian style. Canada is just like U.S. anyways. The Mexican, they all have their preferences, right? So it just depends on the business. If you are in the food industry, food business, then local adaptation is very important. All right. What else do we have to cover? On we go, right? 48 minutes gone. Um, so there are forms of global businesses. So when you know whether you're going to choose global adaptation or local adaptation or global consistency, after that you have to know the form of business. That means how your business is organized. All right, is it an exporting business, so you don't have to go build buildings in other countries and stuff, so you're trying to just cut down on cost, right? But that is not necessarily cutting down on cost, because when you export your products, what's happening here? They're going to charge you tariff, right? And also transportation costs. So exporting, if you want to be an exporting um, business, that comes with this disadvantages. It also has its advantages, which is also could be cost effective because you don't have to go go there, send people out there to go manage the business for you. Are you sending people from here, or are you going to go find somebody out there? All these things. So people love exporting. um, BMW plant. BMW, of course, is owned by Germany, but they have a plant in South Carolina, Spartanburg, South Carolina. It's been there since '94. So what? Almost what? About 31 years now, and yeah, and so they export. Mainly, they export these cars from here to other so many other countries. They've exported what I think uh, I think it's about 500,000 cars a year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, to so many different countries. All right. So the form of your business is how your business is organized. Is it an exporting business? Um, One, another form of business is cooperative contract. Under cooperative contract, you have what licensing or franchising. All right, with licensing, people pay you royalty, right? Um, and then they take your business name, or they open a business in another country, um, similar to your business. All right. Yeah. So you give them some sort of a license to operate after they've paid you royalties. All right. That royalty could be, it's mostly yearly. So they're paying you some money to use your name or to um, open um, um, a business in another country selling your brands. All right. Burberry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this also could be, could be beneficial, but it also has its um, what disadvantages. It could be beneficial in the sense that again, you don't have to waste money going out there to build a business and all that. All you got to do is just you hear somebody's taking your products and selling them, and they paying you money for it, right? So it sounds very good, but then since since they are licensed to do that, they can do whatever. They can even have poor customer service, and that is going to ruin what the reputation of your business. And it happened to Burberry. Burberry's I think they have cologne. They have a brand name. They gave license to Sanyo Shukai, a Japanese company, to sell their products. The problem is that they opened so many locations in Japan, and so they kind of cheapened the value, or they lowered the prices of Burberry items. And Burberry, they want to be a high valued brand, so they're not gonna lower the prices like that. They felt that it was entirely against their business strategy, and so they they took back their license. Also in these cases, they can steal um, some intellectual property from you, right? Next thing you know, they are in competition with you. So I said it's licensing and also franchise, right? So franchise, you pay an upfront fee. You pay what royalties yearly, um, and then you build the business according to standard. So if you want to buy, if I want to buy a McDonald's franchise, I'm gonna have to pay the franchise fee, which is about $45,000, and then I have to pay for them to come build that building for me, and then give me um, all the what we call it, food, right? Food items that they sell. And McDonald's franchise is now what, about $2.5 million. So take note of the difference between licensing and franchising. Franchises, you have to pay what, an upfront fee, right? And then you also have to pay fees to set up the building and everything. And you know, they control, of course, the stuff that you can sell. The building has to be designed according to standard and stuff. But then with a license, you just pay royalties, and then you are able to do some similar, or sell their products, or create, create um, a product, which is, like I said, similar to what they do. All right. There's also strategic alliance. Under strategic alliance, strategic alliance happens where what they combine, businesses combine key resources, combine cost, they combine risk, they combine technology, right? And people, right? So when they combine these things, right, they cut down on all these risk and cost involved. Risk when the business goes down. When a business files bankruptcies, one person cannot, what you call it, incur all the charge. So under strategic alliance, we have a joint venture. A joint venture happens when two businesses come together to form a third business. All right. Yeah, so they bring their resources together, and then they form another business. It's just as simple as that. So an example is Walmart and Rakuten. Rakuten is a Japanese um, bookseller, online retailer, matter of fact. And the Walmart is also what, an American, what, brick and mortar retailer. So they came together to form what, um, ebooks, right? To sell ebooks online, and it worked out pretty well. There's another example where um, two companies, of course, came together to start providing movies. I forgot that particular example, but yep. Then we also have wholly owned affiliates. All right, wholly owned affiliates. So wholly owned affiliates is, the business is located in a foreign country, is being run there by managers there local, but then the business is owned by somebody else who is in another country, right? So Ford Motor Company, right? They have wholly owned affiliates in Europe, right? So the business in Europe, they are 100% being managed by Europeans. They are producing the cars according to standard, but then it's Ford Motor Company that owns it, right? Yep. And so that is what wholly owned affiliates. So these are the forms of businesses that you can have. All right. There is also what we call global new venture. All right, global new ventures, which can also be considered a form of business. Now, a global new venture is a business that is started on what, online, and so it has a global presence. Most businesses, right? They get started as regular businesses, right, in a country, in a physical location, and then they grow, they expand, they get online, and they are able to sell or they move to other countries. They move part of their businesses to other countries. But then with certain businesses, they just start online, brand new. A business like Amazon. Amazon is an online business. That's how it starts. That is what we call what a global new venture, right? So from its inception, it's been online. Um, eBay, there's no physical location. They started online, and so you can just also open your business or start a business from its inception, and it has online presence already. That is a global new venture, right? And so people are just going to log into your website, and then they buy stuff from you. That you ship it. That is different from other businesses that started as a small business in or mom and pop business. They had a physical location, and then later on, what happened? They grow out. All right. All right. So before you go to a country, you have to have what the right. You got to find a business that has the right climate to support your business. All right. You want a place where there is market, so the market is also growing. So growing markets are characterized by what? By high purchasing power and the presence of so many other businesses, and that's a good thing, all right? Because if there are other businesses there, and you go locate your business there too, other businesses could be your supplier. That's why there are so many businesses located. There are so many businesses located in where Silicon Valley, because they serve as suppliers to each other, right? Not necessarily, always competition. And they also share knowledge somewhat, because one person can leave the job and then go to another job, and so they share knowledge. So like I said, also purchasing power, which I've already discussed. So if you go to a country with very low purchasing power, then what's going to happen? Then nobody is going to buy your product. So you have to know the um, growing markets, countries that are growing. India, China, Dubai, they have growing markets for products. Okay, um, and stuff. All right. So what else? You also have to be careful when you're choosing, of course, the location. Um, because there are some countries that have, of course, good infrastructure. It's supposed to be considered. Other countries don't. The culture, you also have to know the culture, because when you want to go open a burger joint in India, what Indians don't eat, most Hindus, they don't eat what cows, and so then it's not going to be patronized. So you have to know all these things. There could also be you also have to choose a country where there is what low minimum wage rate. Um, Timberland, Timberland, uh, and some other clothing stores. They are located in Ethiopia. Why? Because they are close to. Because Ethiopia has a lot of fiber, and so they use that fiber in their manufacturing, right? Um, yeah. So they want to be located in Ethiopia, and at the end of the day, what happens? Ethiopians get paid what $21 a month, right? So they have what cheap, very cheap labor there, right? Yeah. Unlike China, compared to Ethiopia. They are paying what $297 a month. Um, yeah, so you have to consider, the cost of production, how much money you paying um, these employees, right? And also the transportation, the level of transportation, how connected these um, towns or cities are, right? So all these things, you know, come into play. How close are you to the resource base, right? To the resource base. Um, China has a lot of resources, rare earth minerals. So a lot of companies also want to locate to China. Like I said, Netherlands, there is what highly skilled labor. They have a lot of literates there, um, who can you need skilled labor to be able to get the job done. Netherlands, they also speak what most people speak Dutch and English. They speak English fluently. They also speak Spanish. So a person, a citizen of Dutch, they actually have they're able to speak three different languages just off the bat. So that is why United States businesses are in the Netherlands. All right, and so there are so many reasons. All right, at the same time, um, you don't want to be where there is what political risk. Political risk comes with overthrow of government. There is what um, political upheavals, demonstrations, where um, you know things are getting burned in the city, in the towns. If your business is caught up in that, what's going to happen? You're going to lose your business. Also, where there is policy uncertainty. Well, with political uncertainty, there are also wars, all over the place. You don't want to go build your business right now in Ukraine. Why? Because you're going to get caught up, right? Or in that region. Also in around Israel, you know, and Palestine, they're fighting. If you build your business in the Middle East, it's quite a dangerous situation, right? As political leaders are killed, there's social unrest, and so on. Um, so that's the political uncertainty there. There's also what policy uncertainty, where they change the laws. Um, you know, like you blink your eye. So where there is policy uncertainty, you do not want to locate your business there. This happened to Walmart in India. As soon as they located in India, the Indian government changed their policies. All right, they don't want Walmart to have an online presence. They don't want they don't want in Walmart to give discounts. Yeah, Walmart was like, okay, what is going on? This is not the agreement that we signed. So the Indian government just changed the laws, which weren't in the favor of Walmart, and so what? They closed down all the 45 stores and left. All right. So you also have to be aware of what national cultures. All right. When you go in there, you have to be aware of the national culture. Which, matter of fact, we've said a whole lot about it, right? Go to China and stuff like that. But there was this professor, Professor Hofstede, who studied this for 20 years. He actually went to 53 countries, right? And he came up with an average behavior of what constitutes what national culture. First of all, what's a culture? A set of what beliefs, set of shared beliefs and and values all right? Shared beliefs, values, norms that actually shape people's perception. It shapes people understanding, all right? And it shapes people decision making, right? And their behavior. So when you go to a certain culture and he's saying something, they probably don't understand what you're saying because that's not. It's not as though they don't have the brains to understand it, right? But the culture makes them understand things um, a little differently because they are exposed to certain things. All right, they have different perceptions. They make decisions a certain way. All right, so let's go on because this video is taking um too long, but there's no rush. We are all learning here, right? So Professor Hofstede came up with six things that separate or that identifies national cultures. All right. One, individualism. That is the extent to which people are self-sufficient, and on that list, United States is very high. We have a lot of individuals who, they are self-sufficient. They make decisions for themselves. They don't subscribe to the group. Netherlands also have that, and very low on that list is what Indonesia, China. If you look at a PowerPoint, you're gonna see that. There is also another dimension of national culture is was masculinity and femininity. Masculinity is associated with assertiveness, right? You are very assertive. You like competition. You like what self achievement. Material stuff, and also material stuff. Men like that, and femininity is associated with nurturing. All right, caring for each other, bring relationship building, bringing people together to enjoy quality of life. Now, excuse me, a country like Japan, all right, Japan, they they have what high level of masculinity. Germany, China, a country like Netherlands have high level of femininity. United States has 62 on that on that grade. So there is high level of not a high level but a good level of masculinity here in the United States, right? Um, the next one is what indulgence. The way people just love to have fun, party like there's no tomorrow. High on the list is Nigeria and the United States. All right, there's always something going on Fridays, Saturdays where people are just drinking. They are head off. They're having fun. They're at the restaurants. They're watching games and stuff. Netherlands also do that. They have a lot of fun. But then a place like Hong Kong, Russia, China, they don't engage in they don't have high level of indulgence. What they have is rather what restraint. All right, and then there's also what a short term and long term orient. That do you think about the future, or you just want to? Well, short term is also associated with consuming now. People just want to spend. They just having fun. They have a lot of money. A lot of people live from paycheck to paycheck that I know of. They just want to spend their money right now because they know that okay, well, I'm going to get some money. Again, they're going to pay me soon. With long term, they like to save their money. All right. So people with long term orient are the Japanese, the Chinese. All right. The Nigerians, no. Americans, no. They have a short term orient. That means they just want to spend their money. There is also the sixth dimension, right? Is um, it's uncertainty avoidance. All right, is the degree to which people in the country are uncomfortable with unstructured, ambiguous, and unpredictable situations. They don't like to take risk basically. So when they get a job, they just stick to it, right? They don't really like a whole lot of change. But and this is what Russia, Japan, France, America is low on the list. A lot of people like to take risks. A lot of people like to change. They like to fire their bosses, right? All right, so let's come to the end of this. How do you prepare to go international? Of course, you have to learn the language. If you're going anywhere these days, you have a whole lot of things that you can access on social media, right? Translations and stuff. At least you have to know the language to be able to get by, to say hello, how are you? Can I? Where is this place, right? All right. You also have to know the laws and regulations in the country. In some certain countries, as I told my business class, you're not allowed to even spit. You're not allowed to even spit on the streets. No, I think it's Indonesia, China. No, you have to go to the bathroom to spit in there. So if you're not careful, you're gonna get what arrested. In some countries, they don't give bribe. I mean, they don't give what you call it tips. Tips are not allowed. It's considered a form of bribery. So you have to know all these things. You also have to know, um, of course, the culture. As I mentioned, the Chinese, if you call out their names loud, it's considered rude. When you go to in a public place, you're supposed to know how to um, call them. You call them by numbers, right? So you are an expatriate when you live and work in another country. So you have to go undergo what language training. You have to undergo what cross cultural training. You lucky with cross cultural training. You can watch what documentary on YouTube. Learn a whole lot about it. About a country. There is also what um, simulation where they have um, some like AI stuff telling you how to do things. There is also field simulation training which is I think is one of the most effective ways to train people. Where let's say you're American, but then you go to the Chinese community, or you go to a place, yep, where the Chinese or the Korean people are. When I was in North Carolina, there was a Korean community. It was actually a Korean guy who was fixing my car. He spoke English, and so he likes me. I mean, we like each other. Um, because he does a very good job fixing the cars, and he's such an interesting guy. And I think he found me also to be very interesting. And so we I ended up learning a whole lot of things from him. He even introduced me to a Korean restaurant. He said, and I'm like, I mean, what is this? He said, no, no, try it. This is good food. Yeah. And so you have to go to those communities to learn, and before you can what travel outside. Of course, know their currency too. Um, what happened to this woman, Brittany Griner, when um, she was arrested in Russia because they don't allow marijuana. All right, they don't allow it at all. I think she had this stuff that is used to smoke marijuana. Although it was empty or something, they still didn't want it, and they arrested her. Of course, your spouse or your family also have to go with you sometimes, right? Um, it is, in some countries, let's say in Argentina, when actually they say 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock could mean 9 o'clock. They are more relaxed on time. In America, 7 o'clock is 7 o'clock. But then in so many other countries, that is not the situation. So you have to learn. So you don't go to somebody else's country and suffer and not know what to do. Otherwise, you're going to be isolated. All right. So that is not for today. I'm going to ask you a few questions, of course, and then we're going to take, go on to chapter 9. All right. All right. Y'all have a good day and stay blessed. Bye bye.